Hello, today we're going to talk about the categorical section of your report. So here we have to create two pie charts and bar charts and include them in the include them here. And then what we have to do is we have to say why did you make this chart and what does this chart tell us? All right. So I kind of practiced before, but let's talk about it. And I'm actually going to take out all this code that we're going to put back in a minute. So I'm going to hit run. And again, you hit run when you change something on the left, and you only do it once. All right, so let's look at schools table. So this is our all the schools, and if you notice, there's a column called ELA passing and math passing, right, which is the percentage of the school passing. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the median of of how many schools actually passed the ELA exam. And it's, and only about 38%. So we're gonna put this piece of data, and we're gonna put it the median of ELA passing is 0.38. I'm rounding it. Okay, now we hit up. Oh, go here and hit up, and then change ELA to math. And now we write the median of math passing is 0.25, right? So 25%. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create functions. We're going to create functions is good school that takes in a row, right? And what we want to do is we want to decide that if it's a good school, if it has twice the passing rate as the state average, right? So if the ELA passing is bigger than twice of 38 is 76. Oh, and because it's with Pirate, you have to put zeros in front of the decimals. And it's passing higher than 50%, right? We're going to call it a good school. Now, this is really important to point out. You, right here, just decided what makes a good school or not, right? Before this, right, we could have said, oh, you have to have a 90% ELA passing for math and English to be a good school. But that wouldn't be looking at the data. That wouldn't be looking at what you have. And I really want to make it clear, right? The power of data science is taking a good, hard look at the facts and what you have. And that, if you want to be realistic, and to be honest, these numbers might be too realistic, unrealistic. It might be too high. The fact that we're saying you have to have both, not just one or the other, also might be unrealistic, right? Because if you go to a school where you can write really well, but you don't do well at math, you're still prepared for the world. If you do really go to a school where you're very good with logical thinking and math thinking, you still will be prepared for the world, right? So this is really important, right? And I want to stress this, like some of the policies that we make are because people make it's different people that make these kind of decisions. Different people that don't know the communities that they're coming into, don't know, the reality of things. They just have this wishful thinking. So this is exciting, right? Because you guys get to decide what is a good school, and you could be as harsh or as realistic as you want to be, right? So now what we're going to have is struggling, and with is struggling, what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite. So if a school is less than half of the average, right? So half of 38 is 19. So if it's 19 that's passing, and half of 25 is 12.5, and it's less than half, then we're going to say it's a struggling school. Okay, and again, a lot of power in that. You get to decide. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called we're going to make a new table, new schools table, and we're going to set it equal to the schools table, but we're going to build a column which takes in a name. So, good standing. And it takes in a function that will put values in to that row based on what the function says. So so this will give us, because this is an and statement, a Boolean statement, it's going to say true or false. Okay, we're going to chain this because we're going to put another build column statement. And method chaining is when you just kind of use the same line and but you do multiple things. So right here we're chaining build column, and we're doing it again. But this time we want to know if a school is struggling, and we're going to use is struggling, and I'm going to close my parenthesis, and we're good. Let's hit run. So see if we did okay here. All right, so here we are. So let's look at new schools table. It looks the same, has the same amount of rows, has the same beginning, but if I go all the way to the end, I notice that there's a new thing here called good standing and struggling, and it's a false false. Now there's so many schools here, like going through them it'll take a little while, so let's do a pie chart. And we're going to take new schools table. We're going to look at the number of, whoops, you don't put that in quotes. Right, that's the name of the table. That doesn't go in quotes. But what goes in quotes is the name of the column that you're going to look at, and that's going to be called good standing. Right, we want to see how many schools are good standing. So right here we see, right, you hit X, and then you hit this again. You right-click, copy image. You go back to your categorical visualization. You put it here, right? And then, you modify the size. You know what I like to do? I actually like to insert a table. So I usually do this. I put insert table, and I have above, I'm going to put in the picture, right? And over here, I'm just going to give a description, right? The number of schools in good standing, and I could even, write twice the average pass rate, right, for the state, or twice the median, if I wanted to say that. Median is the center, right, and we get to define it using median, mode, or mean, but it gets associated too much with the mean. Let's say twice the median pass rate for the state, right? Why did you make this chart, right? To see how many good schools. I put that good schools are in road. What does this chart tell us? That there are only 7 schools that are performing really strong, right? Which is interesting, right? Because we can see what are those schools. Okay, let's do the same thing, right? But instead of good standing, we're going to write struggle. Now we see that we have actually 39 schools that are struggling, right? So that's kind of interesting, right? That tells us, like, we're interested, like what kind of struggle is it? So I insert a table, right? And I could put, I like I could copy and paste this when I'm done here. So let me do that, and then just change it up a little bit. So this is the number of schools struggling, twice below half the median, right? Not twice, but now we use half. And now we see that that's twice the number of good schools that there are struggling schools, right? So now we this is interesting. Like, let's look into these schools. Let's see if there's how many of these 7 schools are charter schools, how many of these 39 schools are charter schools, right? Let's try to get a better picture of where do the charter schools come in. And we're not what I like to do, and by the way, this is it for the coding and how to do this part. This is now me speaking my mind, is I really like to use data not as a way to judge things, but just as a way to state what is happening right now, and to wait for the narrative to come later, right? Because even doing this data analysis, we're taking a snapshot in 1 year, which is not very, like, you're not looking down the road very long. A snapshot in 1 year for a school is not fair. You're also, the data that we have is very limited, right? So the information we get is interesting, right? It'll make us ask questions, but it's not going to give us a story, right? To figure out a story, it's going to take some questions. It's going to take some a little more research, but it's a fun. I love doing this kind of stuff. It's a fun way to start. So I hope this video was helpful in the expectations for this part of the project. Always feel free to come to Drop-In Tutoring if you have any questions. And I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye bye.